Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Demonland podcast. My name is Andy, and Grapeviney is not with me tonight. He had to go away, so joining me tonight is Rafiki. Good evening. Have I got your name right, actually?
Yeah, sure. That's good enough.
So anyway, welcome to the Demonland podcast. If you'd like to call the show at any time tonight, well, it'd be a good idea if I had the phone numbers up so I could recite them. If you want to call the show, easy way to do it is call 03 9016 3666, or you can Skype me at Demonland31. And I just remembered I need to open up the chat room. We have a chat room at demonland.com/podcast. If you are on the website now, you can click the podcast link at the top and you'll be able to find it. But before you can post there, I do have to make it usable. So anyway, yes, the game on the weekend. Well, wasn't that a bit disappointing? I mean, you know, you play Hawthorn and you probably don't go... Well, at the beginning of the year, we would have looked at that fixture and not thought we could win, but given last year's effort, yeah, we've got a chance. And given their efforts this year, you would think we're in with a great chance. And, we sort of certainly didn't come out of the firing out of the blocks. What did you think of the first quarter there, Rafiki?
Well, the first quarter was terrible. I think the whole half was bloody awful. Jeez, it was rough.
What can you say? I mean, just from out of the blocks, we just didn't appear to play with any kind of purpose at all. I don't know what happens to us in those situations, and why is it that we can't seem to play 4 quarters of football? It's killing our year at the moment. So, yeah, I don't know. What do you? Can we turn this around?
Actually, I think we can turn this around for sure. If we actually do turn around, I'm not so sure about that, but I think we definitely have the skills to turn it around, but I don't think we will. Yeah,
it's I was having a look today at some of the stats, and in particular the ruck stats sort of stick out to me. And there was a thread on Demonland this week about how important Gawn is to the team, and whether we're missing him. And I sort of had a look at the ruck stats, and you look at just the ruck stats, and it appears that we just got absolutely smashed. I think the stats were 24-61. So that's a huge mauling. But then you have a look at the clearance stats, and we're sort of winning in the clearance, definitely winning, in the centre clearances, we won, and I think all up we had 37-30. So, it's not all doom and gloom without having the ruckman, but where I think we missed Max the most is in the... I think we missed him most in around the ground, taking those marks in defence. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think we missed Max and possibly Spencer definitely around the ground the most, because like the opposition ruckman or just their tall guys, they keep marking us. It's bloody not great.
No, it's not. They seem to have a lot of talls around, particularly even in their forward line, sort of outmarking us. And, that's sort of like the position that, Maxi's sort of in, and he takes a lot of saving marks in the last line of defence. He can go forward and kick a goal. And I think we sort of lacked that big man. But, we can't... I don't think we can whinge about it too much, because he's not going to be there for the next couple of weeks. So, that's we've got to get along with it. I think, Peterson's definitely working well in that position. He's making a contest at all the marking contests, but yeah, we're going to miss Max, and yeah, I mean, yeah. What can you say? I had a look actually at I had a look at our injury list, or there was I think David Misson put up, his weekly injury report, and he mentioned both Max and Spencer were coming along a lot, progressing quite strongly from their injuries, and he mentioned that Gorney is 2 weeks now into his running program. He's going well. He's doing some faster run-throughs this week, and he's only 4 weeks out of the operation, but he's still 4 to 6 weeks, that dreaded 4 to 6 weeks away from playing. But that's encouraging signs, because the sooner that we can get either one of Gorn and Spencer back on the track, it's going to be good for us. But you have a look at the next couple of weeks of our games, and we've got Adelaide coming up. We've got Sam Jacobs, possibly the best performing ruckman in the league at the moment, and then the next week after that we've got North Melbourne, and Goldstein, probably the next best ruckman in the league at the moment. So yeah, it's quite daunting to go in without a number one ruckman.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's I definitely agree that I think ruckman these days, they're definitely more they're more important around the ground than even in like the ruck competition. Oh,
the ruck contest, yeah. But you can see, like, we're at the moment we've got a pretty good functioning sort of midfield, and they can sort of negate the fact that we're not getting first use of the ball from the tap. They're sort of, at the moment, they're reading the play very well, and guys like Oliver and Viney. Viney, I thought, had a fantastic game on the weekend, possibly back to his early 2016 form, which I was very impressed with. I think both myself and Grape Viney the last few weeks have been sort of, had a little question mark over Jack Viney and his form this year. So it was great to sort of see him get a bit of that touch back, and he definitely was winning a lot of the ball, and I think he had his most touches for the year this week. So it's good.
He's definitely coming back to form for sure. He's been a lot better. The first 4 or 5 weeks, he went very far off what he was used to seeing him do.
Yeah, he seemed to be going missing a lot. He just wasn't getting his hands on the ball. This week he was definitely getting his hands on the ball, and credit to him. He had a fantastic game. So a couple of the other players that really stood out for me, and it was probably a great move by the coach, was putting Jaden Hunt into the forward line, off half forward. Jaden Hunt, fantastic player, gives us a lot of run off the half back line, but certainly putting him into the forward line was a great move, and he kicked a couple of goals for us, and definitely provided a bit of spark in that forward line. So I thought that was a fantastic move by our coach.
Yeah, it worked really well. We what did he kick 2 goals in a minute or something?
Yeah, he did. I think he got one from a free kick and might have got a 50-metre penalty. But
yeah, he got a 50. Yeah,
kicked a great one. On the run. He's a fantastic carrier of the ball. I read a stat, I think, prior to this week's game, that he was 4th in the league for metres gained which is one of these new stats that they like to throw in. But it's good to have a player like that who can run and carry with the ball a lot, and he's doing such a great job that he's fourth in the league at that. So well done to Jaden Hunt, who incidentally is one of the players that we sponsor in the at the club. So well done to him. And when I saw he actually got cleaned up and went down, and he got up off the ground holding his shoulder, and I thought, oh no, here's the Demonland curse. It seems that every player that I sponsor.
Yeah, I was very worried when that happened. Is there anything actually wrong with him, or was it a bit of a stinger or something?
If you go back, then there was the other Demonland sponsored player, Josh Wagner, also went down, which looked to be a shoulder injury, and actually went off the ground. And I thought he was actually looked worse than what Hunt looked at the time. But then I saw today on one of the, I think the AFL had a list of all the teams and their injuries going into the round 8, and there was actually a little note at the bottom of Melbourne's little blurb about Melbourne saying that both Josh Wagner and Jaden Hunt have been cleared of any shoulder damage and will face Adelaide this weekend. So that's good news because
very good news. We can't really afford any more injuries.
Not injuries, especially to backmen. We've had a couple of backmen go down this year. Garland earlier in the year, with a knee injury. Joel Smith in the first game went down. We really don't want any more injuries because I think we've. When I have a look at all the injury lists of all the other teams, we've certainly got our fair share there, and particularly having the two ruckmen. You don't want any more.
Yeah, that's probably the worst.
Yeah. So there was who else? Anyone else stand out for you in the game? Any players
Sam Frost was fantastic in the second half.
Thank you for that. I did neglect to mention him. He was also nominated as in the AFL Team of the Week. I don't know how prestigious that award is, but I like to follow it because it sort of pits our players up against the other teams, and it's always good to see one of our guys, particularly someone like Frosty, who doesn't get a lot of probably recognition from opposition clubs or the AFL community as a whole. So it was really nice to see him and get in that team. And he had a great second half. His run out of the back line's really good. I think his disposal's getting a bit better. I just like to see a backman sort of back himself and attack the footy, and he's not afraid to take a risk.
He's been really good the last 2 weeks actually. He's so fast. He's quick. God, he must be almost as fast as Hunt, I reckon. Yeah, and for a guy who's a bit taller, it's unusual to see someone with such agility at his height, and he does well in defence. So I was happy with him, and definitely his second half efforts were great. I thought Jesse did okay. I thought at times he wasn't leading, but look, I think in the end he kicked a couple of goals and kicked 3, I think.
Yeah, he certainly doesn't get gifted free kicks like the forward of the opposition team because
old roughhead. I got very lucky, I think.
I don't know what it is. Maybe Jesse seems to get almost molested every week. It doesn't really.
I think he has a bit of a Lindsay Thomas kind of thing going on where he plays for the frees a bit too much.
Yeah, and I think you know what? I think you've hit the nail on the head because I think umpires are quite aware of that, and I don't know if they're punishing him or not, but I think perhaps they're quite aware of that, and I think when you sort of overact maybe and play for free kicks, you're less likely to get them. But it would be nice to see him get one that he deserves every now and again. If anyone wants to call the show, speak about perhaps one of the players you thought had a great game, one of the one of the players we might have missed. 0390163666. That's 0390163666, or you can Skype us on Demonland 31. And I know my co-host Great Viney usually likes to bring up the fact that he likes to talk about the coaches' votes, and I noticed this week that we were talking about Jack Viney earlier, and he got 5 votes from both coaches last week. So I know Great Viney would want that to be mentioned, which great efforts, coming back. So there was one other thing that I noticed this week on Demonland, and I think it made the news, and on one of the radio stations, was a supporter wrote a letter to the club. Did you happen to read this letter?
I saw that.
So I'm going to read out this letter. The views of this letter aren't necessarily the views of this podcast or myself or my co-host, but this is an irate supporter wrote the following to Simon Goodwin. He said, "Congratulations, Simon, for your preparation of this football team last Sunday. How long and how badly does a player need to play in the team before he is dropped? J. Kennedy Harris has done 0 for 2 weeks. The majority of supporters see it and know he has no X factor, is physically inferior, has no impact at all, and not at AFL standard, never has been. Yet you as a coach willingly, in effect, sent 21 players onto the ground because, God help us, you thought he was better than the likes of Harms, Kent or Kennedy. Hannon is not far behind him, but you also keep rewarding him, and both are producing absolutely nothing." So that's the first part of the letter. And well, not that I agree with the guy, but I do think that J. Kennedy Harris probably needs to go back to the twos. I don't think he has had the impact that perhaps the coach wanted him to. A few people on Demonland had thought that he came into the team because Kent's defensive pressure wasn't as good. He wasn't, he'd only had a couple of tackles, and so I think perhaps. Well, I'll go back and say that I was reading the Casey coach's his thoughts on the Melbourne players who played. For Casey on the weekend, and he mentioned that Kent played, had a pretty good defensive game. I think he had he'd had 7 tackles or so. So perhaps he's sort of learnt about his defensive game, and I'd like to probably see Kent come into the team for J. Kennedy Harris. What do you think?
Yes, for sure. Well, someone needs to come in for Kennedy Harris for sure. He's been disappointing, to put it lightly. Just look at Kent. I don't think he's played that well in the last few games in the VFL though.
The coach actually said, given the conditions, Kent didn't have such a great game, but he did mention, I saw in the stats that he'd had 7 tackles, and I imagine that's sort of the directive that he was given from the Melbourne coaches, is probably to sort of lift his defensive game. But yeah, I don't know. I'd like to perhaps see someone else, maybe Ben Kennedy, because I noticed in the coach's notes from Casey that he had 26 touches or something. So yeah, I think we probably need a change up forward. I think Harms had got injured during the game. I think he had got a kick to the face or something. I think they said he's all right, but he might, he was out by the third quarter. He didn't play.
Probably get a lacerated eyeball or something.
Yeah, it doesn't sound too good.
Doesn't sound good at all.
So the comments on Dean Kent was that Dean had 18 possessions, 7 tackles, and kicked 1 goal. It wasn't the type of game where Kenty it's not written very well, but he wasn't able to show his strength because of the conditions. But the one pleasing thing out of Kenty's game that we were most pleased about was his forward pressure, meaning he had the 7 tackles. His ability to impact ground balls and put the opposition under pressure created opportunities for us. It's been 2 weeks now that Kenty has played the way we want him to. He certainly puts his name up for AFL selection this week. So I think he was given that directive to go to the twos and sort of find his, that defensive pressure in the forward 50. And, 18 possessions isn't a terrible game. But, I think we sort of need him, his pace, and he knows where the goals are. So, I'm willing to give him a go. The other guy was Ben Kennedy. He had 26 possessions, 6 inside 50s, 4 tackles, and kicked 1 goal, 1. So he possibly puts his name up as well. But, I'm not sure about Ben Kennedy. I don't think he's on the radar of our coaching staff at the moment. I think he's there purely to make up numbers. But if his form warrants it, then he's definitely someone who could come back in. Just a note on Melksham. He can't come back in this week because he got suspended.
Do you know what he got suspended for?
No,
I'm not too sure.
I don't know. I didn't see anything, but I'm impressed with his stats. I didn't see any of the game. It said Melksham had 32 possessions, 6 inside 50s, 7 marks, 10 tackles, and 1 goal, 4.
1 goal, 4.
So, Jake came back from the AFL, was given a strong role, and he was able to do it really well. So he's obviously done what the coaches have asked, but he won't be back. He won't be back this week, unfortunately for him. So once he comes back, he'll probably have to have another week to sort of prove his worth.
Yeah, for sure. I hope Kent comes back in. I think his offensive work is definitely very good. A lot more positive than what's his name?
Jake Kennedy Harris.
Yeah, and just Kennedy.
Yeah. The other player in the twos that we would probably be looking at is Billy Stretch. He's had a couple of weeks in the twos. So I said Billy Stretch had 25 possession, 5 marks and 4 tackles. After being left out of the senior team, he started the game really well. The thing the coach was most happy about was his ability to take the game on and send us forward. He continues to build his game around his contests and flexibility of roles. He contributed well.
I thought it was unusual that he even got dropped. Like he was doing fairly well, I thought.
Yeah, I thought he was doing all right as well. So, I was a bit shocked that he was the one that got dropped and there were a few others who kept their spots. So, I don't know, go figure. I don't know what the, we don't, sometimes we just not, we're not privy to what the coach wants. And, they obviously go into games with particular roles to play. And I guess if you're not doing it, you're out of the team. But then I see some of the efforts that some players make, and they stay in the team. So I don't know. I guess that's the reason I'm not a coach.
Unusual.
Now I'm assuming I'm not seeing Alex Neil-Bullen's name having played, so I'm assuming that he was.
I think it was the emergency.
The emergency, and they kept it. They were playing at the same time, so he was probably at our game. So. I'm not sure what happens there. I don't think you wouldn't think he would come back into the team without having played a game. So they'll obviously have to take someone over with them to Adelaide. So I would assume that someone's going to miss a game out at Casey as well. And given all of our injuries, I don't think Casey can afford to lose many more players. I think they've
lost every game.
Well, I think
won 1.
I think they've won 1, and I think they've in 2 games they're sort of faded in the last quarter, and that's probably as a direct result of not having the Melbourne cattle on the park. So it definitely does.
The 2 people from Casey I'm most curious about is Dion Johnson and who's the other guy?
There's Hewlett or Kelty, Mitch King, the other ruckman.
Yes, I'm curious about him. He's he's obviously very raw. But
So that's Dion
it's
Johnson.
Corey Maynard.
Well, he got. Well, I don't think he'll be playing either. He was the guy.
No, he got knocked out.
He got knocked out, and the guy got 5 weeks for it. So
5 weeks.
I thought I read that today, unless I was reading that wrong. I think he got 5 weeks. So yeah,
Boy, it must have been a bad hit.
Well, it must have been, and I think he he definitely went to hospital for being knocked out, and I think it was under observation for a broken. I don't know. I don't think it was very good. It said Corey only lasted a quarter, being concussed and being brought from the ground on a stretcher. Before that, he'd started the game really well. He was certainly getting his hands on the ball. He took 2 marks and laid 2 tackles. Corey was on track to have a good day. So.
Yeah, I really like his brother at Collingwood.
Okay, yep.
He's very impressive. Yeah. So he's the same build. He's very, very big.
Yeah. Oh, well, good. That Dion Johnson you mentioned, I thought it was strange. We played him in a game early on in the year
I think he played one JTL game.
Yeah, JTL game, and we haven't seen or heard of him since.
I think he had like 2 or 3 touches in that game. So.
Yeah. I thought it was strange that they actually played him. I'm not sure why. Maybe just to give him a taste of it, or just to see. But then they didn't play him again. So, it said he had 13 this week. He had 13 possessions, 6 inside 50s, and kicked 2 goals. So, 13 possessions isn't great, but a couple of inside 50s and kicking 2 goals.
6 inside 50s is pretty good.
Yeah.
I guess for a small forward, those are pretty good stats.
Yeah, so it said his 2 goals were opportunistic goals from tight situations, which were highlights. So you need sort of that good player who can make something out of nothing, because that's exactly what you need. Hawthorn a few times kicked goals, made something out of nothing, and that's sort of what.
I think that's what we're lacking. We're just lacking another good small forward. I feel like.
Well, that's why they put in J. Kennedy Harris. I think that's failed so far. We had Kent early in the year. He got dropped. Perhaps give him another chance. But I like the look of this Dion Johnson. But obviously he's probably a bit raw and still needs a couple of weeks.
I'm sure he is.
A couple of weeks in the. So going back to this irate letter from the we've talked about he's not happy with the forwards, but credit to the coaches. They've got to try different things, but I think if things aren't working, they've got to pull the pin. And I think early on, a few people were screaming, why is Melksham getting a game? And look, he wasn't playing so well. Coach reacted perhaps a week later than many supporters who were jumping up and down would have liked, but he's gone back to the resis, and he's played a pretty good game. So back to this letter. You knew, this is the irate supporter talking to Simon Goodwin. You knew you were playing Adelaide next week at home after a belting, which will be next to certainly a loss for the team. Yeah, I think this guy needs to either do some spell check or some grammar check. So instead of punishing a team down on its bum and with a chance to go back into the 8, your preparation to get back respect from this club that has dominated Melbourne all my football life, meaning I think he's talking about Hawthorn, was nothing short of deplorable. Don't blame the players, because you will, I am certain, prepare them differently this week to Hawthorn. No. I don't know what he's mean there. I'm fed up with watching them, meaning Hawthorn, fearlessly dominate us, and will never put myself or my family through a Hawthorn-Melbourne game again live ever. The depression of not seeing this club, meaning Hawthorn, humiliate our club ever again is better than the elation of seeing Melbourne beat them. Well, I would say this guy did not go to Melbourne Hawthorn last year. Because after we beat the Hawks last year, it felt like a final for me. I said to a couple of mates after the game, having not been experiencing finals in a couple of years, that certainly felt like
10 years.
Yeah, a couple of years. Sorry, I forget myself at times, but so he obviously didn't go to that game last year, and you know what? I was disappointed that. We didn't win, that we didn't, last year, having beaten, Hawthorn were in a better position last year. than they are now, and we had a great win. So I was disappointed, but not to the point of writing a letter to the coach. So we'll go on. He says, "They and no other club respect us. They all know this club will crumble in battle. Players like Jack Riewoldt play their best game against us. Roughhead played back into form because he knows it's just Melbourne. No one fears us." Well, I often say that we play some opposition players into form, and I definitely think we played Jack Riewoldt into form and possibly Roughhead, but I don't think they do that because it's Melbourne. I think that's just something that.
The weird thing is, like, why would you send a letter now? Has he been following the football club the last 10 years?
Yeah, he certainly seemed... Well, perhaps he's just more frustrated now. I don't know. He goes on to say, "You accept habitual poor disposal resulting in turnovers every week because the players have no consequences. Viney, Jones and Tyson and McDonald's do it consistently. We are fed up with the promise of what the team will produce every time we play, how they will make the supporters proud. I'm not proud of this club." This is not me speaking, this is the guy. "And the excuses and promises after every loss. Your inept selection on Sunday and the preparation is unforgivable. I would like a full refund out of your own pocket for my membership and not from the club. From now on, I'm just a barracker, not a supporter. Thank you very much." And then his name withheld. And so not only did he send that letter, but he cut up his membership and sent.
I noticed there was a bronze membership, by the way.
Yeah, which is he had sent a note. I think he had sent this to David Schwartz from SEN, and for some reason I can't read what. Bigger. Oh, I can't make it bigger, but I think he said something to the effect that he's been a member for 25 years, on and off. But for some reason, he says here, "By the way, I've been a member for the majority, not meaning every year, of the last 25 years. Bronze member is actually an insult. MCC member as well." Well, as far as I'm concerned, if you don't take out a membership every year, then they don't just count every year. They do it. You're a bronze member if you've done 5 years in succession. I don't know what the thing is, or if you do 15, it's a gold. But that's got to be consecutive, and I agree with that. You've got to reward people for taking it out every year, not just not when you feel like it. So, and look, I understand people have financial issues as well, that you might not be able to take it out every year, but just because you barrack for the club.
I'm not a member right now. But hopefully I will be in the next couple of weeks.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to hang up on you. Well, anyway, no, that's all right. But yeah, I don't think you can complain about the fact that he's not that he's a bronze member. Right? That's
yeah.
I don't think when you sign up they give you a quiz to see how well you know your football club and your players.
I feel like this is a bit of a... Someone's made this up, I think.
Oh, you think so? You think someone's sent that in as a bit of a laugh? It very well could be. And I usually, this is something we usually tease the Richmond fans about. It's a sort of that running gag that it's the Richmond fans that tear up their memberships each year, that cut them
Chuck
up.
it in the microwave.
I actually said to a drunken Richmond fan in front of me, made some comment, and I said, "Oh, shut up! In a couple of weeks you'll be ripping up your memberships."
That was true.
That was while
I think it will be.
That was while we were in front. I was a bit quieter a bit later in the game, but I digress.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a letter that an irate member, or not a member anymore because he's ripped up his membership. But I love, what's this guy going to do if we do turn the season around and we make the finals? I guess he's not going.
Stupid. It's so childish to do that.
It is very childish. I would have liked to have seen his age, because it really is something a sort of kid has a sook about.
George on the outer asked about Tringove. What are your thoughts on him?
Well, it's look. I don't know. I haven't seen him play. I mean, he played a couple of games last year, but obviously haven't seen any games that he's played in the twos. I'd like to give him a go to see where he's at, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like, barring a whole lot of injuries, whether he's going to get a game or not.
I think he's going to get delisted.
Yeah, you would
at the end of this year.
If he's not getting any senior games this year, you would say.
I can't imagine he's going to get a senior game.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's contracted to. Whether he's still got any.
I think it's this year.
Oh,
I think he's got a 1 year contract extension.
Okay. If he doesn't play a senior game this year, which, I'm not going to say it seems likely. Just yet, but if he doesn't get a game this year, you can't imagine they'll keep him. How could they?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because I really liked the guy, I thought he had incredible potential, but obviously injuries and other bad luck has hampered him.
Imagine that 2 of our former captains got delisted and they're not even old.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what that says about us, our recruiting or what. We haven't had a great track record, prior to, the last couple of years. I mean, even you can look at the drafting of Angus Brayshaw, and I know he's had some concussion issues, but if he doesn't. I'm a big fan of his, but I wonder what's happening there.
I think he's going to come good.
Yeah, I hope so too. I was a bit shocked when he got dropped, but I worry about the concussion, and I worry about I want him to get back into the team.
Yeah, someone on the forum said that his dad called into a radio show or something.
Yeah.
And he said that his concussion issues aren't very serious at all.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah, that's definitely good.
I mean, you'd hate to have such a young kid go out of the game because of a concussion, being an issue. So, well, that's good to know. Jack Tringove, this is just the reserves coach's notes, were Trenner's had 22 possession, 5 inside 50s and 6 tackles. I seem to say this most weeks about Jack. He continues to tick a lot of boxes. He's selfless and plays team-first football and gets similar results week in, week out. Jack continues to do the small things that end up being big things for our team. He was very good. That's encouraging, but, 22 possessions.
That's what they say every week.
Yeah, it's like, and
he never gets picked.
I think at the moment, and it's a shame because when he came to the club, I thought he was going to be 200 game player plus, and just be a gun. And unfortunately, it looks like he's going to be a very good Resi's player, and it's just a shame.
Yeah, that sucks. I'm sure he seems like a really nice guy as well.
Yeah, he does.
Seems very committed, and I think his injuries have killed him.
Yeah, I think so. So another milestone we had this week was the club ticking over 40,000 members. So that's a great effort from the club, from all the staff, and who sort of made that happen. The fact that we're starting to turn it around on the field, hopefully for a few more wins, that certainly helped us. But it was great to see us get 40,000 members.
That's great. It
wasn't too long ago that I think we were celebrating. That we were celebrating 30, reaching 30,000 members. That was a great result. So I think we've got to just turn around and look for 50,000 members now, see if we can pull out another 10,000. So there must be.
I think someone posted that we have like 200,000 supporters or something.
Yeah, I think we're
obviously not members. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we've got there's a lot of the whole MCC, that whole issue with the MCC and how many of them are dual MCC, MFC members. I'm not sure how the MCC membership works. Whether there's some
Yeah,
reciprocal
I'm an
thing.
MCC member, so it's like
Does that count as a member if you put Melbourne down?
There's like a dual kind of membership. Yep. You can either pay $40 or 90 or something.
Yep. And that makes
it's pretty much just like a donation.
Yeah. Well, it'll be good to see if we can convert a few more of them and get some more people on board. But winning certainly helps that. It's a credit to the club to get 40,000 members, considering the last 10 years that we've had. Imagine if we have 10 years of success, how high that can get. So, winning and getting on TV and, converting, young kids into supporters is the way to go. And you can only do that by winning.
So I got my niece on the Demons, luckily.
Yeah, it's always hard. Like I know, just even with my own kids, taking them to the footy, the last couple of years, it's always been hard to get them to come back each week because when you're losing, it's how do you tell a kid, keep coming. You want the games to at least be exciting so that they can see something. Even if we lose, that it's even if we lose by a small margin, but when you're getting pumped and only kicking 4 goals for the match. It's very hard to get kids back.
Yeah. At least we're only losing by a couple of points nowadays.
And now we've just got to turn it around into wins, and that's the most important thing, I think, is to be able to win these close games. Because at the moment we're not winning these close games. I think every game this year we've been in with a chance at 3/4 time. We've either been up in the last quarter or very close to it. I don't think we're up at any point in this game. I think maybe at the beginning for a second, but we've got to turn these into wins. You look at a team like the Bulldogs, and they win a high percent, or over the last 2 years, they've won a high percentage over the games that have been, within a goal or less, and that's what we've got to start doing. I mean, I think we've actually got to start winning by a lot more than that, but I'll start with the close games.
Start with the wins.
Yeah, so any other ins and outs that you can foresee for this week?
I think it's just going to be Kennedy Harris.
Yeah, it's possibly just going to be small forwards. Doesn't look like we've got any injuries at the moment, so yeah, it's probably just going to be moving a few pieces around the chessboard.
I saw Pro D was talking about quarters 1, which were 4th on the ladder, I think.
Of quarters 1, wow.
And Jordan Lewis was talking about it on AFL 360 last night.
Yeah,
which I think it's a really good stat to measure your team against.
Yeah, you know what a better stat to measure your teams?
Wins losses.
That's my favourite stat to measure wins by. But yeah, I do agree. Look, I think I just before showtime tonight, I saw a thread on Demon Land. I might just go to it quickly just to see what they said. But it was something about the could've, would've, should've. Where the coulda, woulda, shoulda, the shoulda, coulda, woulda demon looms as the big what if of 2017. And I mean, we've had, I think, all of our games this year have been, what ifs. We lost to Geelong. We lost by a couple of goals, but at 3/4 time, or just prior to 3/4 time, we allowed them to kick 2 quick goals. And, that sort of killed it. And had we not, the coulda, woulda, shoulda, whatever, with that, had we not let them kick those 2 goals, possibly could have won that game. The Fremantle game, the 3rd quarter, we let them kick 7 goals to zip, and we still almost managed to steal the game away. Had we just,
that
gone
Fremantle
even.
Game was the most frustrated I've been in a long time.
Yeah, even if we'd kicked 2 goals in that 3rd quarter, or just restricted them to 5 goals to zip, that quarter killed us. And the last quarter against Richmond, we were in a winning position, 21 points up at three-quarter time. I know we ran out of legs. We didn't have the cattle on the field. We had,
Yeah,
we had to
I knew we were going to lose at three-quarter time.
Yeah.
I said to my dad, we're definitely going to lose.
Yeah, it sort of felt that way. And, then when they kicked the first couple, it was just, So, again, we, win three quarters, lose one. It seems to be, even this week, the first quarter was 5-1. But then we pretty much won the rest of the day, or we're pretty even for the rest of the day. But, those quarters are killing us at the moment. And, we've got to turn that around. If anyone wants to give a call, speak about this week's game or the games, any of the games that we've played this year, 03 9016 3666. That's 03 9016 3666, or Skype us Demonland31. And I see that George on the outer said, any comments on the use of handball and all the defenders up and none down in marking contests? And that's a good point. We definitely overuse the ball, and I guess that's sort of the team rule, is to try and get to someone free. They like to switch it a lot, but that can look like, and it is looking like, overuse of the handball, or overuse of the ball.
I don't hate the overuse. Well, I don't like overuse of handball, obviously, but I can see what they're obviously going for.
Yeah,
it's sometimes it's
one too many.
A bit tricky.
Yeah. I think it'll click in the end. I'm not hating on it. I think it'll work out sometime. It'll all click, and we'll get there. As the players get more games into them, and I know it's cliched, as they play more games together. I mean, some of these guys have a majority of them haven't played more than 20 games, more than 10 games, and certainly not more than a season's worth together. So we've got to give it a little bit of time. Just in terms of stats, I wanted to bring this up earlier, but forgot about it. We absolutely smashed Hawthorn statistics-wise. Where are the... Well, that's the... Oh, here. Excuse me. Yeah, so, we had almost 100 more disposals than them. I think we had 80 more disposals than them. So I guess the thing is, we're not being very direct. Could be costing us, because Hawthorn were very direct. They were going sort of straight up the middle and seemed to work for them. But yeah, I don't know. And then George's other comment was all the defenders up and none down in marking contests, and that's
that is so annoying.
Yeah,
it happens. It seems to. I watch a lot of football, and it seems like we do that the most by far.
Yeah, it happened a number of times. I was, screaming to whoever was next to me, someone down, who's down, every time we went up for a marking contest.
I don't really understand why, Jetta always seems to go up. I love Jetta as a player, but he always seems to go up in the marking contest.
Yeah, I really think Jetta needs to stay down in those marking contests in defence. Let the big guys all go for it and spoil, and he should probably stay down and sort of shark it off the play.
Yeah. I'm sick of seeing three opposition players just by themselves.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. If we go up, it's either taken, by one of their players on the ground who stayed down, but then there's always, then they have loose men throughout their forward line.
Yeah.
And it just kills us. I'd like to see stats on that, how many scores made from all of our players going up in marking contests. But, it's a bit worrying, but look, I've said this to Grapeviney each week. I think what is hardening out of all of this is the fact that we're being competitive. All right, we're not winning at the moment. That's not great, but we're being competitive. We're in with we're within a kick of quite a few games, or a kick or a couple of kicks in it. It'll all work, I think, in the end. We'll get there.
I think we have a very good young list at the moment.
Yeah, it's not going to get worse. It can only get better. So Yeah, I don't know. I'm not. Usually, I'm quite doom and gloom when it comes to the D's, but I can see the positives, and I think we'll get there. Just when I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
agree. I definitely agree that we're going to get there for sure.
Look, I don't have much. I don't have much confidence this week.
No.
We're
Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if we won for some reason.
Well, I would have had a bit more confidence had they won this week, but the fact that they had their first loss and lost quite badly. I mean, I don't think they scored a goal in the first quarter and were absolutely smashed.
That was a crazy game. Did
Yeah.
you watch it?
Oh, just my footy tipping this week was absolutely atrocious. I don't think I think I got
I think
three.
the Kiss of Death won the tipping in the Hun, whatever it is.
Yeah. So I would have preferred that they had won rather than lost. But you know, we're playing possibly the best team at the moment in the league, and maybe we'll play better as the underdog. That's all I can hope for at the moment.
It seems like we always do.
Yeah, when we're not
It's so
expected
stupid.
to. But you know what I want? It might be cliche, but I really just want to be competitive. If we can't win this game, I don't want to be thrashed.
I don't expect us to win this, but
I'll take
I hope it's going to be a good game.
Yeah. And then the next couple of weeks, we've got we've got games that we've really got to win. Otherwise, our season is all but over. I think we've got North Melbourne after the Adelaide game, playing them on the G. I think. Yep, we're back at the
MCG. That's right. And then we play them later in the year in Tasmania, I think.
Yes, yeah, that's correct. So we've got next couple of games. We've got North Melbourne after Adelaide. We've got Gold Coast up in I'm not sure if it's in Darwin or Alice Springs, and then we've got the bye and then Collingwood. So really, if we can't beat Adelaide, I think we've really got to aim for winning those next three games because that's the only thing that'll keep our season on track. If we don't win those games or a majority of those three games, I think it's season over this year. Make it very hard on the.
I'm not feeling great about the finals.
Yeah, I know.
We'll see.
But you know what? I think I said to a lot of my mates, sort of particularly non-Melbourne mates, that I thought that not making the finals this year is a failure, and we'll need a few more weeks to sort of reassess to see if that's a failure or whether we can blame it on injuries or not having Max and not having a backup ruckman, how much that's cost us. I don't know. Time will tell.
Yeah, I don't really think it's going to be a failure if we don't make finals.
I guess it'll depend whether we keep up with the way we've been playing. It's not like we've been getting smashed. We've been very competitive. We're getting games into these young players, so it's not all doom and gloom.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I've got one question to ask you.
Yeah, go for it.
How about there was a thread about Johannesson. Yes. What do you think?
Well, look, I would never knock back a player's particular someone who's a Norm Smith medalist. There's question marks over his kicking, but he's a similar player to Hunt. I think I think he's up there with the meters gained type of player. Runs and carries quite well with the ball, flashy player. I wouldn't say no, but from what I've heard, he's not a free agent or restricted free agent, so it's the type of thing we'd have to give up to get him. I don't think we would try for him. I think with Hunt we've got a similar player. If he came to us for nothing, if he came to us for nothing or relatively little, then yeah, sure. But depends what we'd have to give up.
Cost a lot of money as well.
Yeah,
he's definitely a good player, but I don't think he's like 800,000 a year.
Yeah. I don't think he's A grade. That's not to say I don't think he's a great player. I think he's a very good player. It was like as I said, I think he's similar to Hunt. Whereas one of my mates actually barracks for Geelong, and he saw one of Hunt's games. He said, "Oh, that guy's going to win a Brownlow medal." And I said, "No, I don't think he's the type like Hunt. I think he's great, but I don't think he's the type that would win a Brownlow. But he's the type that would win a Norm Smith, like Johannesson, like would have a great game and in a big match, and would win. He's the type that would win a Norm Smith medal. But I think they're very similar players. So no, I don't think we'd try to get him, particularly the type of money he'd probably command."
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he leaves. Not too sure. I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
Yeah, well, look, it'll all depend. He's won a premiership, so maybe he'll go start chasing some money. He's won the premiership, so he might leave.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he left. Anyways, it's not Melbourne related, so
no. But I've noticed there's been a few threads on the board about other players that are potential leaving their clubs. There's one on Zach Jones, which Grapevine and I talked about one week, and then there's Josh Kelly. I think there's rumours.
Yeah, he's apparently looking at houses in Elwood.
Yeah, that's
just down the block from me.
That's always a sign.
Go a bit of a tea party with him.
Yeah, that's right. That's always a sign. Whether that a player is potentially coming home, but it also could be be getting paid a fair bit. Maybe he's just investing. Could just be an investment. Yeah. So look.
One more question.
Go for it.
Who would you want, if you could get any player, who would you want at your club at Melbourne?
Well, it would have to be, you'd have to sort of have a look and see, sort of position-wise what we need. And I think it's hard to go past an A-grade midfielder. But do we have our A-grade midfielders in the making? I don't know. Perhaps we do.
I would go for I'd go for a backline.
Well, that was the other thing. Or do we go for a key position backman? And I don't know. I mean, who would you like backman wise? Who would you would want if you could have any of the current day?
I love Talia.
Yeah, he's all right. He's good.
Yeah. I'm not sure who else I would go for.
But it's hard to go past
Early or something.
Yeah. You know what? He's. I was really impressed with him. I thought he had a great game against us. He certainly took a lot of marks in defence, which is sort of what you need. So he gave him a lot out of the back line. I was really impressed with him. But it's hard to go past an A-grade midfielder like a Dangerfield or the like.
Yeah.
You wouldn't say no to any of those guys if they wanted to come to us. But
I would love what's his name? Jack Stephen. He's a great player.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's pretty good.
Except for the mullet.
Well, we're not picking teams based on looks here, but yeah, the mullet's got to go.
Gorn wouldn't get picked any week, I guess.
Yeah, so well, I think we've pretty much discussed all there is to it. Is there any other topics you think need to be broached? I
I think I'm all good.
I think we've pretty much.
Hellbent says Rory Sloane.
Oh yeah, Rory Sloane's had a great year. I think he's leading the coaches' votes. I think he's favourite at the moment for the Brownlow. It'd be hard to sort of go past him. And it was interesting. I saw just while we were on Rory Sloane. I think what's his name? Scott Thompson is. I don't know. Was he injured or not? I can't remember. But he's sort of in the position to start getting games again, and I heard their coach say that he might not be able to get into the team. So
he's pretty old now, isn't he? He's about 30,
he is, but he was
33.
Yeah, he's up there, but he was he was having a great year last year. So yeah, player of his calibre struggling to get into a team. I mean, it's not the type of guy that you would want to take at that age. But then again, we got Jordan Lewis, and Jordan Lewis has done all right for us. But no, I think we're going to concentrate on our young brigade.
Yeah, we got stiff there when we bloody lost Scott Thompson.
Yeah, well, I think that was. I think he wanted to. One of those things.
Yeah.
He wanted to leave, and yeah,
That's fair enough.
What can you do? So anyway, I just I want to. I think we'll end it there. I want to thank you, Rafiki, for joining me, coming in to save the day in the.
No worries. I was a bit nervous.
No,
I'm
look,
sorry for my stuff ups.
Don't worry about that. It's all a learning experience. It is nerve wracking to get on the air and speak to strangers on the internet.
Yeah.
But I thought you did a great job. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining me tonight.
Yeah, no worries.
We'll be back next week. Grapevine should be back in town, so we'll be back. We'll be back next week, same time, same channel. Thank you very much for listening tonight, and go D's. I'd love to be able to play the Grand Old Flag, but I don't think we're allowed to play it when we don't win. So anyway, thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
We got the speed, we got the need, we got the power.